Let me thank the gentlelady from Virginia, and let me also thank the gentleman from South Carolina for organizing this special order at a very important time. Before the 14th Amendment, I was considered 3/5 of a man. It was not until 1870, through the ratification of the 15th Amendment, I received the right to vote. Women, it wasn't until 1920, through the passage of the 19th Amendment, they received the right to vote. Despite all men and women having the full federal right to vote, by 1920, states still devised schemes to impose draconian restrictions to prevent voter registration for people of color. These restrictions were Jim Crow laws. I never understood it, but in 1988, when I ran for office the first time, I wanted my grandmother to vote for me. And I was leading folk to the polls to register to vote, or to the registrar's office, and I tried to get my grandmother. And I said, "Grandmother, why in the world would you not go and vote for your grandson?" And she said to me, "Sit down, son, let me just tell you a story." She went to register to vote, and they gave her a literacy test. She had to state the preamble to the Constitution. My grandmother, in Louisiana. And I finally got her to register to vote, and she voted until she passed. They gave them tests like citizen tests, voucher tests. They had to get other people to vouch for them. In Louisiana, we had something called all-white primaries, which means blacks could not even vote in primary elections. And one of the first successes we've had in the battle of voting rights was in 1944. The Supreme Court decision of Smith v. Allwright, when they outlawed white-only primaries. Following this decision, black voter registration went up. It moved from 1,000 in 1944 to 120,000 in 1952. And 160,000 in 1956. Despite some legal progress, Jim Crow laws were still alive and well in southern states. Substantial progress was made through the Voting Rights Act of 1956, 57, and 1960, which authorized the United States Attorney General to file lawsuits on behalf of Americans who were denied the right to vote, and gave them the ability to investigate threats on civil rights. A watershed moment occurred when we passed the 1964 Voting Rights Act and the 1965 Voting Rights Act, which made Jim Crow practice of discrimination illegal. And thank God for subsection 5. And I can take a moment of personal privilege to talk about that subsection because it really affected me. Every law that was passed in my state of Louisiana had to be pre-cleared by the Justice Department. And then there was a challenge to that. Shelby v. Holden. Every progress we have made, all the sacrifices, all the leaders have made, like John Lewis, Martin Luther King, Shirley Chisholm, and Jesse Jackson, they kept making these pushes because they knew it was a hard time for people. And lastly, let me just tell you, these state laws are real. Last year, I served as a member of the Louisiana State Senate, and several attempts were made to make it more difficult on a state level for people to register to vote. Senate Bill 226, which dealt with absentee ballots. It requires you had to put your mother's maiden name on your voter application, or your vote will be thrown out. Senate Bill 218, prohibit individuals from assisting elderly people from registering to vote. I say to you, Mr. Speaker, Congress should advance legislation like the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act to increase equal access across the voting ballot. And I thank the Speaker, and I yield back the balance of my time.